There are more than 1,000 rivers and canals in Bangladesh. The sea level in the Bay of Bengal is rising. Storms and heavy rains are becoming more frequent. Land is being eaten away. This family expects to lose its home soon. They don't know where they should go when the time comes.
আমার জন্ম এখানেই আমার জীবনে আমি দেখলাম
I was born here.
এখান থেকে 2 থেকে 2,500 ফ্যামিলি
I've lived here all my life.
বিলীন হয়ে গেছে প্লাস
I've seen 2,000 or 2,500 families lose their homes because of natural disasters that come from the sea.
এভাবে অনেক ফ্যামিলি চলে গেছে এভাবে অনেক প্রতিষ্ঠান চলে গেছে
Communities around here have left their schools, their mosques, their temples, everything behind.
শিফট করার ব্যবস্থা নিচ্ছি আর কি
Villagers say there were plans to reinforce the shoreline here, but nothing happened. Mahfuzul Haq often hears such stories. He works for the global anti-corruption organization Transparency International. He's a specialist in climate change mitigation and adaptation measures, and their financing. Much of the land in Bangladesh is just a few meters above sea level.
Climate finance is coming to Bangladesh, but it's not what we expect right now. It needs to be increased. We have received so far about $700 million all together, but among these $700 million, Bangladesh government has the highest contribution particularly.
The government has spent more than $400 million so far. Projects include the construction of facilities such as schools that can also serve as sturdy refuges where people can shelter during storms and floods. But buildings like these are expensive, and they don't always go up where they are most needed. Transparency International monitors how and where funds are spent. A school that also houses an emergency shelter has been built here in Barguna district, near the coast. The problem is, it's a long way from most of the villages in the area, and not a single pupil or teacher is in sight. The question is whether millions have been wasted here, and if so, why?
It's from the Climate Fund program, one of the Climate Fund programs. Sometimes it's difficult to judge that they're used properly in all cases, but this is a very exceptional case that if we find that this school is not used properly actually.
Why this particular spot was chosen to build the school is anybody's guess. Haq doesn't know, or at least he won't say. Voicing criticism can be very dangerous in Bangladesh. As human rights organizations point out, critics of the government in Dhaka have a way of disappearing. The German ambassador Thomas Prinz is not afraid to speak his mind. Many Bangladeshis would probably agree with him, even though they might not dare to say so.
I consider corruption to be the greatest barrier to development in this country. What this country needs is clean government and clean public institutions, and above all, it needs the political will to make it happen, but I see no sign of that.
This market hall, which can serve as a cyclone shelter, has been built at another spot in Barguna district. Transparency International is hosting a meeting for the villagers here. The NGO is keen to see local communities get involved. The meeting begins with a call for everybody to join forces to combat corruption. Then local people voice their concerns. Why are the public toilets always locked? Why don't the drains work? What about the road to the market?
We're happy and grateful that we have a road to the bazaar, but it's in terrible repair, and there have been accidents. Some of our suppliers were injured. This is bad for business.
Mehdi Hassan Khan represents the local government. He was at the meeting, and says he will follow up on the matters raised. Very many markets in Bangladesh are close to water. The buildings that house them are rarely able to withstand floods or cyclones. A shelter also has to be tall enough or built on high enough ground that people can shelter above floodwaters. This shelter is still under construction, but quality issues are already in evidence. Foreign donors are threatening to pull out of climate change-related projects in Bangladesh unless the authorities clamp down on corruption. The international community and Transparency International are also calling for better financial oversight and project monitoring.
Government is actually also eager to learn from these sorts of things, and they are actually gradually taking these things in their planning, in their policy issues, in their documents. So it's actually helping Bangladesh to get more money from climate funds.
Bangladesh is among the countries at most immediate risk from climate change and is in desperate need of all the help it can get to adapt.